today we have Jane Fish from Great Way Real Estate. We have the pleasure of having her here, and we'll ask her some questions so that the audience can learn all about what's going on in the real estate world today, right?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I appreciate you having me today.
Yeah, of course. So I will say I've known Jane a very long time. We've been friends way before we worked together. Mm-hmm. Jane's an amazing human being in addition to being a great realtor. So glad to have you. Yeah. Well, first of all, how did you get into real estate?
Yeah, well, that's kind of a long story, but prior to real estate, I was in sports medicine, and I did a lot of tutoring for students that were struggling and stuff. And I just felt like I needed a change of course as I get older, and I wanted to do something that still allows me to serve my community, serve people, use the gifts that I have. And I just started researching real estate and decided that I thought it would be phenomenal to get into.
So, and that's I love that you say you want to serve the community and help people. I know one of the things with real estate is we want to help people build wealth, obviously have a nest of their own.
Yes.
There's something that comes with that, a comfort and a security. Although you haven't been doing this forever, in the time that we've worked together and the deals that we've done together, I'm very impressed with your professionalism and stick-to-itness, etc. Tell us a story. I know a story for sure, but this may or may not be the one that you share, in where it's a tough market right now. It's hard to find inventory. And so how do you go about that? How would you help a client if they're looking for a certain property in a certain area and there is no inventory?
Well, I actually have two stories, but my first one, I had some clients that had property or wanted property up in Keystone, and they wanted in a very particular area, a ski in, ski out, very particular area, but none of them were for sale. So I began buying some lists to get some phone numbers and some addresses of the people that did reside in these properties. And I just began going down the line, calling every single person and to see if they'd want to sell. And that was how we were able to make them successful in getting a property of what they wanted.
So you hooked somebody said, yes, they do want to sell. That obviously wasn't already listed.
Right.
So, but what I'm hearing is obviously you're thinking out of the box. You're not afraid it takes energy and time and creativity to get the list, to make those calls. Yeah. And obviously when you get them on the phone, to be able to convert that person to want to sell. So kudos to you. That's a really cool story. You don't hear of a lot of realtors doing that. That's the kind of thing that Jane would do for you as her client, is to figure out a way to make you successful and get you what it is you're looking for. Tell us another just success story in general in real estate that maybe you've had.
Well, I had some sweet clients that were moving back to the States from Vietnam, and they were referred to me from my kids' school. And so they were still out in Vietnam, and we in this crazy market trying to find a home it was very difficult. But so what we did is we would FaceTime, but we were 12 hours difference. So she would start texting me at 4 a.m. and I'm texting her. I mean, we're having communications on hours that are not normal for either one of us. We were both exhausted. But what we did is I would go to I would set up showings for all these properties, and I would just FaceTime them. Every property we went through, I can't even tell you how many properties. I think I wrote 18 contracts for them. Goodness. And we finally won one. And so that's been a really fun success story for me, because it's neat to have them come here. They're actually going to my kids' school. Awesome family. But it took a lot of work, and they were persistent. It took persistence on their side, and it took persistence on my side. But we finally got them a property, and it's going to turn out to be a lovely home for them.
Oh, that's a great story. I love it. So, and obviously they had to have trust in you because you're the one physically looking at the property. That's a lot of pressure on you.
Yes.
So did they finally see it once they had already closed, or did they get to see it prior?
No, they saw it once they already closed.
Wow.
But so as I was, and there were still some surprises. You try to explain to people, hey, this is what this actually looks like.
Right.
But when you're not there, so I'm like, here's the scratch on the door. Do you care about that?
Right.
They kind of got to a point where it's like, we just need a home and we can fix it up.
Yeah.
But they weren't disappointed by any stretch of the imagination, but they had some work to do.
Sure.
But they're making it beautiful now.
Oh, yeah. That's a cool story. So, and what I'm hearing there is teamwork. It takes teamwork on your part and the buyer's part to be a united front, right?
Yes.
Work together.
Absolutely.
And have patience.
Yes.
So in terms of a perfect client for you, obviously somebody, that trust you.
Mhm.
What else would you say is an important, what do you look for in a client, and what should a client look for when choosing a realtor?
Yeah. Well, pretty much, you don't want to say that nobody couldn't be a client. I think everybody can be a client, but you want to make sure you're a good fit. I want to make sure that I'm meeting the needs of what they're looking for, that we have good communication, we trust one another, that I understand their goals completely so I can help them gain what it is that they want. It's also, I recognize that this is a huge investment for people. It's other people's money, it's their future. And I also probably need a client who's willing to listen to some counsel, right? Because I have just life experience beyond real estate experience, right? And so we want to make sure that we're getting the right home, doing the right thing for them, that they're fully educated. And home buying is a very stressful thing to do, right? And so my goal is to walk with them all the way through it and make sure that it's as least stressful as possible. In addition, maybe you're not ready to be a client or you don't need me as an agent right now. I am hopeful to be a resource for people. My heart is just for people, Michelle. So if I can refer a lender, if I can refer an inspector, if you need a refinance, if you're struggling with something, I will reach out. If you need a roofer, I know a good roofer.
So you have a good network.
I have a good network. And so I want to be more than a real estate agent to people. I want to be a resource. I want to be a servant and just help however I can.
I love it. Those are good things. So you can see how valuable knowing somebody like Jane would be. She's obviously in connection with these people. She sees the before, during, and after, and if they actually do the job that they promised to do, and she's not going to refer somebody she doesn't trust and wouldn't use herself. So that's another reason to have somebody who's in the industry as a partner, whether you need her today or in the future. Well, Jane, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate, having you and having, the people out there understand what makes a great realtor, what makes a great partnership. When you're choosing your realtor, you want somebody that you can relate to, but that also has experience and has success stories and can really bring something to the table for you besides just writing an offer. Anybody can write an offer. There's negotiation, there's understanding inspection, objections and all those things that go into. We had one where there was an appraisal situation and we had to go back and fight that. So just a lot of ways to look at when you're choosing a realtor, how do you pick the right realtor? So give us a call if you have any questions at all. We'll put Jane's info below. Again, Jane Fish with Great Way Real Estate. Yeah. And of course, Jane, my friend, who I've known for many years, but again, she's a wonderful real estate agent in addition to being a great person. Thanks for joining us today.